So in this session, we are looking at the North Star metric principle, the North Star metric principle. This is an important principle of success, whether somebody is trying to build a professional corporate career or the person is trying to build a successful business. And research has proven that people who get to use this principle or are convicted by this principle and use it as a guide, they always end up very successful. Because one thing that this principle would do for you includes the minimization of confusion and the increase of focus and intentionality, the minimization of chaos and the increase of strategic execution, right? And this personally for me, and with the clients that I have used this principle either in coaching and consulting with, I have seen the transformation, I've seen the incredible impact that this North Star metric principle for success has created among different people. And my belief is that as we go through this particular session, you will be challenged, you will be convicted, and you will see how you can employ this principle in your professional journey. And of course, for people who are building institutional legacies as founders. All right, good. So what is the North Star metric principle? What is this? What does it mean? And what should we be looking at when we talk about the North Star metric principle? The North Star metric principle involves identifying a specific objective or goal that is meaningful and inspiring to you. Now, this description of the North Star metric principle involves a couple of things. Number one is identification. Identification. It is difficult to pursue and overtake and become successful without proper identification of what you're pursuing, without you being certain that this path that you have taken is the path that you want to run with it for the rest of your life. And I always like to go the extra mile and say that if you are 30 years and above and you are still confused of what to do with your life, personally for me, I get worried for people like that. But does it mean that at the age of 40, you cannot discover your path and become successful? No, it doesn't mean like that. Anybody, even at 50. But of course, you cannot refuse the fact that you must have lost a couple of years in confusion, right? So the North Star principle cannot be effective except proper identification of the path has been done, right? And then the second thing here is being specific about your goal. Being specific about your goal. And this is just, should I say, a symptom? This is just like, this is just an outcome of something. Now, for example, when somebody talks about a goal, you need to know that they're coming from somewhere. Number one, they're coming from the place of purpose. They are coming from the place of vision before goals, right? Because that the foundation is purpose. You create a vision from your purpose, and you create goals from your vision. You understand? Let's say, for example, Let's say that your purpose relates to education, right? Let's say your purpose relates to education. Then your dream is that you want to own a complex, an educational complex. And in this complex, we want to have everything education in this complex. That's now your vision. You want to use this vision to achieve your purpose. Now you need to now create a specific goal which makes up your North Star. Now, this goal could be that by 2035, 2030, 2040, because a goal must be specific and must be time bound, right? So you're not telling yourself by 2030, 2040, whatever time, you would like to build a campus in this city, you call the city, in Douala, in Lagos, in Nairobi, wherever, right? And in this complex, you're going to have a university, you're going to have a high school, you're going to have a primary school, you're going to have a kindergarten, you're going to have a daycare, and you are going to have a professional development program institution, just a complex where you can achieve your purpose of education. You see? So the North Star covers that. Yeah, there's that clear identification of the specific goal objective. And two things must be linked to that goal. It should mean something to you and it should inspire you. And anything that means something to you and inspire you relates to the transformation of other people. Do you know that your car, like you buy the best car in the world, it doesn't really inspire you? The only thing that really inspires people genuinely is something that creates transformation in the lives of other people. And then you get to see how other people are becoming better. And when they tell you thank you, it makes meaning to you. The meaning is not the thank you they are telling you, but the meaning is you are seeing them achieving something. You know, it's not pride for you to accept thanks or appreciation for the work you have done. It's not pride. It's reward for the incredible person that you are, right? Good. So when you understand this and the path that you are in right now, I want you to start thinking, this path that I have chosen, does it really qualify for me to call it a North Star? And one thing about a North Star that is truly meaningful and inspiring is there is nothing like giving up. Yes, there is nothing like giving up. You have outgrown that place where you feel like shutting it down. Will you get stuck? Possibly. Will you experience difficulties? Surely. But the difference is you are operating from a realm where the singular objective is to move forward. The most important goal is to solve the obstacle, become agile, and advance the North Star and advance your journey into that North Star, right? So the North Star now becomes that guiding path that helps you to stay focused, to stay motivated, and to stay on track. These three things should happen to you when you pick a North Star. You are very focused because you are not doubting what you're trying to build, what you're trying to achieve. You are motivated because the North Star is meaningful and it inspires you. You are not everywhere because the North Star is guiding you on a particular track. When you see people that are everywhere, for example, People that have incomplete projects everywhere, when they see anything, they're excited about it. They don't have a clear North Star for their life and for their careers or for their business. So they quickly lose track and they find it difficult to seamlessly execute at the highest possible level. And this becomes a big challenge. And that's why it's possible to see that there are some people that year in, year out, they basically are not able to achieve the highest level of incredible success because there is always that, how should I say it? There's always that confusion. There's always that funny stuff of being basically everywhere, right? Which doesn't lead to any great things in the journey that they have chosen, right? Now, what are the questions that can help you to develop your North Star? What are the questions that can help you to develop your North Star? What are these questions? Because it is important. I have my North Star personally for me. I have my North Star. And there is none of my clients that is really serious about succeeding in business and in career that doesn't have a North Star. Whether the client is in UAE, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Canada, United States. I have clients basically almost across different countries, white, black people, right? There is none. But when I start working with you and it's a long-term consulting or a long-term coaching program, this is one thing that we get to establish. This thing I'm teaching you is mostly just private coaching, right? Good. So there are some questions that if you ask yourself as an individual, they can help you to build your North Star. They can help you to see. Let me tell you something. The level of your success is greatly affected by the quality of the energy that you put on your path in that success. And the beautiful thing about a North Star is that it helps you to refocus your energy, your resources, and attention on the right path. On the right path. It's not divided. So these questions will help you develop your North Star. Number one, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what do I value most highly? And how can I optimize my life around it? What is that thing that you value the most in your life? And how can you optimize your life around it? You can tailor it in your business, in your career. Let's say you're a professional right now. What is the most important? What do you value the most right now as far as your career is concerned? What do you value the most right now? Because it depends where you are. Let me say, for example, a man or a woman who is at the age of 45, what they value the most at that particular age could be they want to make sure they retire well. 15 years from now, if they are 45, they want to retire without suffering. That could become their North Star at that age because people discover their North Star late. A young man at the age of 20 could have a different North Star based on what they value most. You see, then you optimize your life around that. You optimize your actions around that. You optimize your daily habits around that. You optimize your resources around that. You optimize everything around you begins to revolve around that particular thing that you value most in your life. If either it is your life, it is your career, it is your business. Let's say you're an entrepreneur. What do you value most highly as far as your business is concerned? What kind of business do you want to build? And how can you optimize everything that you do around your life to achieve what you value most in your business? You begin to create your North Star for that. The example could be that, you know what I value most is that this business is not just a small business, but it grows to become a national business in Cameroon with branches in at least 5,000 Cameroon. You value that expansion. You value that growth that you want to see. Then you begin to optimize everything around you to make sure that that North Star is achieved. North Star can be for a season. North Star can be long term. But you need to pick one. Number two, what is a good metric to reflect how happy I will be over a long term? What is a good metric or number or description to reflect how happy I will be over the long term? Now, in simple terms, what will you use to determine if you will be happy 20 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, 80 years from now, even 10 years from now? What is that good metric? What is that good measurement that you will use to reflect how happy you will be over the long term? What would that be? This can also help you to determine your North Star. For example, for many people who are family oriented, one thing that will reflect how happy they will be over the long term is the role that they played in the lives of their children and how they contributed in giving them a better life before they get old and worn out or retire. That could be what will give them that long-term happiness. That during their active years, they took care of their kids, they paid their school fees, all their kids had their first degree, whatever. But there should be a metric that you can look upon and use as a platform to reflect how happy you will be over the long term. For some people, it could be, you know what, based on the work that I do, I would like to transform 50,000 people by creating significant impacts that can be traced and recorded, and the impact is feasible. That could be the metric. But it is something that is really important to you. You're not just speaking it anyhow. No. It's over a long term. At the age of 40, at the age of 50, at the age of 60, what will you use to reflect on your happiness? Why is this important? Because it starts to hold you accountable for the actions that you take between now and that long-term future you see ahead of you. Many people get to miss out on this. And when this is not there, that's why many people get to live life anyhow. Have you seen the way? I'm sure you have experienced it. It happens to me a lot, many times. So that when the way I see, especially young people, the way they live their lives, I begin to ask myself, these people, have they ever sat down to think what they will be 30 years from now? The consequences of their actions, how they live, what they do, the consequences of their less commitment, the consequences of their laziness, the consequences of too much movies and fun time and hangout and entertainment. Nothing wrong with that. But it becomes wrong when all of your life revolves around that. Then I don't think that that is somebody who really sat down to establish a good metric that they will use few years from now to reflect how happy they will be over a long term and what will make them happy over that long term. So this should help you develop your North Star. Number 3, when I am 80 years old, what will I have wished I prioritized during my life? When I am 80 years old, when you are 80 years old, what will you have wished you made a priority during your entire life? So what does that mean? What would you have wished that you would have made a priority between, let's say, the age of 15 and the age of 79? Because let's say at the age of 80, you are retired, you're worn out, you're tired, you're old, you cannot do the things you used to do, you can barely walk a long distance. You just need to sit and begin to rest and share words of wisdom to people around you. But will there be some regrets that you prioritized the wrong things? Or will you be satisfied that you prioritized the right things? Apart from the 80 years, let's look at our lives now and then look at the last 10 years. Do you wish that you would have prioritized certain things in your life? I want to tell you the truth. I think about 2 days ago, I was regretting of certain things that I am doing now that I wish I started doing them early enough. Yes. And some things that I was doing and I wish I would have stopped doing them long ago, not just stopping them now or stopping them a few years ago. I wish I stopped doing those things in 2012, 2011, 2013, and all of that. Right? But when you learn something like this, it begins to transform you and put you in a place where you can cause a change in how you live now, so there is a quality harvest tomorrow. So when you are 80 years old, what will you wish? What will you wish you prioritize during your entire lifetime? If there's something, then start changing it now. The North Star is to help you work on the right priorities in your career and in your business. How does this work in a business? How does this North Star work in a business? And then we round up and I get questions. How does this North Star work in a business? The North Star principle in business strategy involves identifying a single key performance indicator that is most closely aligned with the company's overall success. right? The idea is to focus all efforts and resources on achieving this one metric, as it is believed to be the driving force behind the success of the company's product and services. So in a business, you can decide, there are many things that you can focus on. There are many key performance indicators, but there is always that one KPI. There is always that one important piece that instead of being everywhere, if you focus on that piece during that particular season, during that particular period, and make it your North Star, it can change the whole atmosphere around the business, because it is the driving force behind the success of the company. For example, a business can make effective sales as their North Star. No matter what happens, our greatest key performance indicator is that we are always achieving our sales goals. That could become their North Star. Our sales figures every month, we are not selling less than 10 million francs, $10 million, 10 million naira, whatever. There is that key performance indicator. And there is a way that this North Star indirectly and directly affects every other element in the business. For example, the sales department can now say, hey, for us to sell very well, we need quality products. So they need to have a meeting with the production department. You see how one North Star is already affecting production department. They can say, hey, for us to have good sales, we need to have a team of employees who behave well and they provide good customer service. You see, it's affecting customer service and proper team character. Oh, for us to sell very well, we will need to have good marketing strategy, both online and offline. So the marketing team must be up to date with marketing strategies. You see how one KPI is not affecting marketing. They say, oh, look, for us to achieve our North Star, which is proper sales, we will need to increase our budget and buy more equipment and more tools and more resources that we need. Boom. You see, it starts affecting. And it is the same in our individual lives. It is the same in our careers. For a career person, the North Star could be, you know what? My dream is I want to get a job with 2 international agencies. And my 2 international agencies are United Nations and the World Bank, or United Nations and IMF, or the African Development Bank, and whatever international organization they want to work for. That is their North Star. And whatever that they do is because of that North Star. When they do that, they say, oh, you know what? For me to work with an international agency like the UN, number one, I will need to get good skills and certification. Work towards that. You know what? I will need to network with some people that already work in these organizations to learn from them. You begin to do that. And you can be working on your North Star while working on a job that is not your dream job. Same like building a business. Because you can have a long-term North Star for your business, but at the moment, your business is very small and not giving you the profits that you dream of. But that is not wrong. Every great company started small. But there is a North Star that is acting as a guiding platform for you to achieve that stuff. Example, the North Star metric principle in action is Facebook's focus on daily active users. Facebook has identified daily active users as the most important metric. I'm talking about the Facebook that you use. This is their North Star. Facebook's critical North Star is daily active users. What can we do on a daily basis to make sure that people are always on Facebook? That is Facebook's major North Star. That's why they will keep designing things, updating the app, making you to be addicted and love to be on the platform. Because their resources, their designers, their money, their attention, everything is to increase daily active users. That is their North Star. So Facebook has identified daily active users as the most important metric that drives their business success, as it reflects the number of people who are actively engaged with the platform on a daily basis. When more people are on the platform, the more data they have to prove to companies that people are on the platform, so companies can advertise on the platform. You use Facebook for free. I use it for free. The only way they make money is that we spend time on Facebook. So the more we sign in and stay on Facebook, the more Facebook collect the data. We're like, oh, Cameroonians go online on Facebook at 6 a.m. And in the morning, 80% of Cameroonians stay on Facebook between 2 hours to 3 hours. That's data that I use it. In the afternoon, Cameroonians go on Facebook between 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. And then between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., that's when most Cameroonians are on Facebook. They have all of these data. And that's how they now use. And they sell to, they sell adverts to companies and all of that. And make people to be excited at doing paid art and paid posts, and that's how they make their money from it. Right? So in business, most critically, your North Star surrounds around that one thing that can transform the operations of your business and lead you to the place of excellence. To achieve this metric, Facebook invests heavily in product development. You now see, right? Because when you set a North Star, there are things that you do on a daily basis, you do consistently to achieve your North Star. So they invest in product development, user experience, customer support, all with the goal of keeping users engaged and returning to the platform day after day. That's the goal. Keep people engaged on the platform, right? So in essence, North Star helps you, as I said earlier, helps you to minimize confusion and increase strategic intentionality. North Star helps you to minimize chaos and increase execution with the predictability that you are going to be successful, right? And that's why growth doesn't happen by guesswork. It takes intentionality. And one of the tools that you can use in your life to enable you to have an intentional life, an intentional career, an intentional business is using the North Star metric principle. All right. That is it for what I plan on sharing with us in this particular session. I hope it was a reminder. I hope it challenged you. I hope it has helped you to make a decision to improve on something and to go back to the drawing board and stop living your life in, just like a bubble. No, but having proper structured plans that can lead to incredible success. Any questions? Were you challenged? Were you blessed? Did you learn something? Awesome. Good. Any question for me? Awesome. It seems there's no question. All right, people.